And she is in the mental disabilities business, and she helps young people and older people and with autism and any other mental disabilities here in the Hampton Roads area. It's really powerful. Her passion, though, she wants to open a facility that helps people, young people, in their endeavors, whether it be entrepreneurship, business, and whatever it is they're seeking, higher education. So that's her passion and that's her goal. So she's here to connect and learn from the wisdom in the room. And what she does for her mental health is get away, vacation, staycation, whatever she can. So that's what she does for her mental health.
The man, y'all. The man. Hey, Chris and Miss Honey. Okay, that's okay. Miss Honey, what Chris say? Chris, okay, so y'all, now we know. Okay, now, the man. There's a few vendors in here that wants to give away a few things. Is there a vendor that can stand up and tell me what the man just won? Mr. Marcus. Okay. Mr. Marcus. The Marcus. Y'all too young. What vendor? You look like y'all ready to give away something. Who ready to give away something? Oh, Juju, you ready to give something away? I know you are. All right. So, the man, okay, he just told us that he went around as and learned something about two people. Not only did he learn it, he wrote it down, and he took some of the feedback from someone else and said now he too will start journaling. Clap it up for the man, Marcus. You want to say Marcus? Yes. Juju. Oh, they call you Sierra. I'm like, who is Juju? Everybody like, wait a second now. She said Sierra. So this is what we're going to do real quick. What have Marcus won from your experience? Oh, wow. Somebody say you can have whatever you like. Okay, Marcus. Come on over there and get whatever you like, okay? Clap it up for the man, y'all. All right, y'all. He said I can give this gift to me. So that's not what he said, but he said I can give it to somebody else. So I need two people to come up here real quick. We're doing a time frame. Two people, head to head, rock, paper, scissors. Best out of three, right? Ain't no kid. Okay. Let's check it out. Oh yeah. This feels like an adult. It feels like somebody that's real grown. I don't know who it's about to be, but get your body nice and limber for your massage, okay? 0, 6, 2, 5, 2, 0, 1. Come on, 6. Hold on, man. The first one is just 1 with 7. What was the last one? 7? Somebody say, keep on rolling. Oh, no, y'all ain't gonna do it. Come on, King George. Where y'all at? Nobody said anything, so we're gonna keep pushing. Uh-oh. Dang, y'all. I was trying. Okay, I'm on your side. Uh-oh. Do we got a winner? The last 4, 2, 0, 1, 6. Nobody? Womp, womp, womp. All right, well, Put as many hands in here and pray about a good number. We're looking for somebody over here to the left. Alright. Here's the last four, y'all. 2. You guys count. 0. 3. 6. So close. 6! Oh my goodness! This other setup, she's not a paid actor. She really just won, okay? So you get a massage. And it's like our posture is so, it's like, why can't I do it? Like, you know, that was anything, I'm telling you, okay? You just get paid when you go. But anywho, thank you to the man. Okay, thank you to the man. And just for the record, you're gonna wear something different in a massage this next round. Okay? So some of y'all might have to call a man to help you on your massage. Or a woman, whatever. Now, I believe we get ready to get this panel started. Y'all ready to keep on going? The pool's good, right? I see people get to-go trays, so I would put my water out there. I can get some to-go trays. You know, I eat more when I get on these clothes. I don't know. Alright, so we're ready to do this panel in just a second. We'll wait for Sherelle to come for her silk back on. And we'll get this thing on. Oh yeah. Come on, y'all. Scissors, shoot! Oh, rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Let's get real. One more. Come on. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Let's go. What you guys want, y'all? And she got a winter outfit on too. It's the ball for me every day. Okay, it's like, I wish I had a ball. Alright, y'all, so it's time for a panel. Y'all ready to learn? No, y'all not. Y'all ready to learn? Y'all ready to heal? Y'all ready to feel? I am too, because this is a big deal. We got my girl, Sherelle, get ready to come up here with 2 amazing panelists, y'all. 2 incredibly beautiful. Well, actually, it's gonna be all 3 of them. Let's just be for real, okay? Hey, I don't got your name, so I want to know your name real quick so I can give you the undue respect, okay?
Michelle Jenkins.
Then that sounds very important. Michelle Jenkins, y'all, is about to come teach you something in just 2 minutes. What's your name, baby girl?
Crystal Thompson.
Crystal Thompson. How about that? Okay, so Crystal Thompson is getting ready to come up here. See, I ain't even know there's a man. There's another man. Okay, what's your name?
James Harris.
All right, do it. Where y'all from? Richmond? Philly!
New York.
I love New Yorkers. They so mean. I just love y'all. All right, y'all. I want y'all real quick. Y'all at 8 and I need y'all up. Can y'all just stay up for me one time? Just one time. This ain't church. I ain't gonna make y'all do offering, so it's okay. You ain't got to give nothing, but go in. Okay? And I want y'all to clap it up for this panelist that came all the way here to bless y'all today, okay? On 3. Clap it up. Clap it up. Clap it up. Clap it up.
intentional about my panelists. It's a lot of people in here that I wanted to ask, but I wanted to be very intentional because again, everything I kind of did was intentional for this event. And so if I can just briefly explain why I chose my panel, because y'all don't need to know that. So I have a background in a little bit of everything when it comes to mental health, whether it be the DD population. I volunteered at a federal penitentiary. I've worked 6 years in treatment foster care. I've worked in numerous of adolescent group homes. I pretty much, the hospital, VCU, a few things that I've done. But it was one job where it was my first real clinical job, my first big girl job, having my master's and my license. And I was welcomed by these two young ladies, beautiful faces, scared to death, y'all, like, Lord, I got these kids flags in my hands. And Crystal was already working there, Miss Crystal Thompson and Michelle Jenkins. We started together. We was in orientation together, like, girl, you see me, I see you. Really cool. And so I was very intentional about asking them to come back because that was a journey. The job that we worked at, it was a difficult, challenging job, and it was so rewarding. And so I learned so much from these two ladies, and they left, all of us left and went on to do our own things, and they are thriving in their careers, and they are inspiration to me, and so I just knew that I had to have them here. So y'all, before I introduce Mr. James Harris, give it up for Ms. Crystal Thompson, who is the co-owner and co-founder of Peace and Healing nonprofit and a Peace of Mind counselor. She has how many clinicians? 7 clinicians under her private practice, her group practice. So who is that black girl? And Miss Michelle is the owner of Stepping Towards Purpose. When I tell you, me and her was here, because we was, listen, how many jobs you got? Girl, I got 3. Girl, I got about 4. And we was just bouncing ideas off each other. We were supporting one another when we were in the trenches with kids who were hurting. They were without families there, and it was just us. It was like, we got them, okay? No matter what the administration doing, we got them. And that's how we kind of roll. And so thank you so much for being here. And Mr. Harris, he don't even know it. He might remember. I don't know, because we never talked about it. But our daughters went to preschool together. Don't even know. I first met you. You brought your daughter to my daughter's birthday party. It was a carnival theme outside. We had ponies, the whole 9. James, you remember that? You remember when you had that? And so when I saw him doing his thing on Facebook and on LinkedIn, I was like, hey, oh, that's my girl, baby dad. Hey, how you doing? And so I jumped in the inbox because I felt close already. I was like, look, he gonna know me because he, Royce went to my birthday. He didn't know who I was. But he was very receptive to my questions that I had. I was like, listen, I see you doing your thing out there, and I'm looking for mentorship or just somebody that I can call and ask questions to when I'm trying to do a new thing. And so he has been that for me. He done gave me the real deal. He just said, I said, what's your fee? He said, catch me later, catch me later. So I appreciate you, Mr.
If we're talking about barriers, I think we can't forget about the financial barrier. Because a lot of people don't have that access and availability to capital, disposable capital, because realistically, healthcare is not one of those things that people prioritize, let alone mental health. So I think that is a significant barrier. And then if you do have the, Medicaid or Medicare, there's still limitations on that too. Because if you are in those positions, typically, your income is at a certain point. So more than likely, you're working 2 jobs or you got to go to school or whatever. So me trying to fit that 1 hour in to see somebody can be difficult. So I would say finances is definitely a barrier. And then going back to access and availability, it's a limited amount of people who look like us within this field. So historically, we've been numb and desensitized to a lot of stuff. So we don't know we're grieving. We don't know we're in a traumatic state. So it's difficult for me to want to see you and have you accept me for what I'm bringing to you. So that's one of the first things I do within my sessions is let them know I am you and you're me. So I've been fortunate enough to be in a position to be able to do that. So I would say those are some of the barriers that we face in addition to what the opportunity.
Absolutely. And when thinking about those barriers and how we can address them as clinicians all around the building, right? There are clinicians who are self-pay. There are clinicians who, when you are seeking your consultations and you're looking for a therapist, you can ask for something as far as a payback scale. You know, do you offer payback scale? You know, that's kind of like a based on income type of thing. Simple. And just kind of see if you can work it out. There are also other resources that I'll have at the end of tonight that you can go to and receive free therapy for just a limited amount of sessions, as well as if your job or your company offers therapy, EAP, thank y'all. Your job may offer that, where you'll get a certain amount. So wanting to also provide you guys with, you know, how do we address that issue? Just a few suggestions, okay? Moving along, thank you, that was a good. So all that we've talked about, it kind of helps, if y'all can agree with me, contributes to some of the stigma, right, that surrounds mental health. And just like I talked about earlier, the stigma that makes you crazy, it makes you weak, we can't afford it. I know a famous one is, what stranger gonna tell me about me? Guess what, y'all, that ain't our job to tell you about you. It's not our job to do that. Y'all are the experts of your own lives. We're not the experts in this, so that's not what we do. We don't tell you about yourself or give advice. Oh, Lord, we do not give advice, right? We try to help you see a different perspective so that you're able to come to some of those conclusions yourself. So the next time you think about saying, can't nobody tell me about me, think about that. That's not their job to do that. Okay? But moving right along, with mental health stigma being one of the key barriers to just open discussion and support, I found some stats that I wanted to share real quick on Black mental health. 77% of men have experienced, this is just overall health, mental health, 77% of men have experienced symptoms of common mental health conditions such as anxiety, stress, or depression. 40% of men have never spoken to anyone professionally about their mental health. 40%. And the last one, which is a heavy one, and seriously heavy for me this weekend, is men are more likely to die by suicide than women. So with all of that said, since Black men also in particular face higher levels of mental health stigma, how can we better engage Black men in discussions around mental health and wellness? Because we need
I mean, so it's not one size fit all type situation, but I guess we can start by having discussions like this, open, available, and just have people bring down entire collective experience, because I will be lying to you if I said being a Black man is like a monolithic experience. It's not. We're all different. We all have different resiliency levels. We all experience different things, but how those different things impact us and affect us are differently. So although we may have witnessed the same thing or been through the same thing, our responses are not the same. And I would say this, since it is a lot of women in here, whether you're sisters or moms or wives, just ensure you're putting yourself in a position of safety when you are trying to introduce that man to additional resources. Not just safety from a physical balance standpoint, but from an emotional, mental standpoint, because it can take a toll on you to constantly say, hey, go and get help, go and see somebody. But just remember too, like, he's probably been that way his entire life because he's probably been that way his entire life just based on different stuff. Whether it was told, hey, don't cry, boys don't do that, or so many other ignorant things that we hear and see on social media that will have him to be stoic. You know, he probably don't know no other way in addition to what he's being now. So if you can introduce him to some different resources or send him articles or just say, hey, listen, what do you think about this? You have been experiencing some of these things. Or, hey, have you heard about XYZ? So just do the research on your own or talk with different professionals within this field. Or send them books or prompts or journals. But at the end of the day, I would argue too that it's not your job to do that. You know, so I'll be fair, and in my sessions, I definitely be fair as well, especially when I'm talking to couples, because it's one of those things that can go on both sides of the coin. You know?
That's right. Definitely had to lean on my black man for support with this because I'm a black woman. It's totally different experiences. So, given some feedback that he gave, asking your black man to work out, because I definitely been on my fitness journey, and how you can practice your self-care and have healthy outlets instead of like, he's upset, he's stressed, let's go and get a drink together. No, let's go to the gym together. Let's work out, let's go for a walk together and really get that feelings and emotion out. He may not have the words, but he can definitely lean on some physical exercise to release it, to release the tension and the stress. He brought in something that I never even thought about. We always accuse men that they don't have the vocabulary. Encourage them, like this one's like, James, thank you so much, to read. Because if you expose them to more books and literature to get closer to the vocabulary and the words, then they can definitely have the words, that toolbox, that they can start to express their emotions. But if we're constantly telling them, you know, men don't cry, man up, then they just shut down and shut up. So having different avenues and different activities and things to get them exposed to, I definitely, as well as James has been mentioning, where I will have couples, a woman drag a man into therapy and say, you gotta tell him, we gotta be together. That is not the point of therapy at all. And I will be frank and honest, and I will call out on both sides. So when it's a couple session, there is no, I am taking the woman's side or I'm taking the man's side. I'm being very transparent and honest of what is working and what is not working, and how, whatever you two decide, and how can we work towards a better plan. So even if it's a breakup, how can we work that out where it's healthy and both are heard and appreciated and is respected in the ending of the relationship. But therapy does not guarantee someone will stay together.
Absolutely, that was so good, and just everything that you were saying, the term kept coming and rolling in our head. We have to create safe spaces, not just for men, but for in couples and relationships and friendships.
So to see a second.
And everything that you kind of spoke about, being validated, you know, listening, and not being so, I guess, draining in nature when talking and forceful and trying to force someone to do something, you know, being respectful of that person's perspective. That's how you kind of create those spaces. I think that's really, truly important. Moving along to y'all, because y'all want to get off. Just to, again, share some stats on Black women. They show that Black women are more likely than other racial and ethnic groups to die from heart disease, high blood pressure, y'all know my heart's the hypertension, high blood pressure, stroke, lupus, and several cancers. They are twice as likely than white women to develop diabetes over the age of 55 versus have uncontrolled blood pressure. Studies show that increasing physical health symptoms can be linked to the strong superwoman schema or strong Black woman syndrome. Y'all have a syndrome. Y'all know that? Did y'all do that? We have a the strong black woman syndrome. So, moving along to my panelists, what are some characteristics of people that didn't know what that is, that someone may have that align with the strong black woman syndrome?
One area that I focus on is the caretaker role. As a black woman, we can take care of everyone, right? But we don't understand that sometimes it produces a person that's codependent, right? Going back to something that Rose said, your kids need your international. Now you don't know what to do. So then we get into people being, and then wanting to be a rescuer in all of our relationships. So,
Woman syndrome, y'all, we have a syndrome. Y'all do that? Did y'all do that? We have a syndrome. The strong black woman syndrome. So, moving along to my panelists, what are some characteristics of people that didn't know what that is, that someone may have that align with the strong black woman syndrome?
one area that I focus on is the caretaker role. As a black woman, we can take care of everyone, right? But we don't understand that sometimes it produces a person that's codependent, right? Going back to something that Rose said, your kids need your empty nester. Now we don't know what to do. So then we get into people being, and then want to be a rescuer in all of our relationships. So, and we just make sure as we take care of yourself. Right?
Okay. I would say resilience. I constantly hear resilience for a black woman or anyone in the black community. And I can honestly say for a while, in a time in my life, resilience that word pissed me off. Because I got tired of being tested and constantly showing up and taking care of and doing, and then I realized I need to take care of me. So, although that resilience is a beautiful thing that we definitely historically can show that our communities continue to thrive and show up and flourish, we really got to focus on taking care of ourselves.
Black women and superwoman syndrome. Beautiful black woman, please take your cape off. It's okay to have a day of rest and relax. The world is not going to fall apart. Kids are going to be okay. Your partner is going to be okay. Your boss can wait. Also, I would say, too, be comfortable with enforcing your boundaries. So you hear that word a lot. Everybody has boundaries. Whether you enforce them or not is what the issue is. You know, sometimes it's a little bit loose because you love this person or they did something for you last time, so I'm going to do it for you now. But no, stick to your boundaries. You can be rigid. It's okay for them to say, all right, cool. You normally come through for me, but this time I understand why you do. Let it be. Take your cape off. Enjoy yourself. Because if you don't, who's there to protect you? You got to protect yourself. Be your own advocate first. Like when you're on a plane, they say, put your mask on first and then have somebody else. But oftentimes you don't have the opportunity to do that. So it's okay to do that.
You were back in there. Definitely speaking on boundaries. Absolutely agree. I think also in that area is asking for help. You know, we do not ask for help. We want to do it all, be it all, have it all, and then wonder why we have migraines, and our stomach hurt, and our back hurt, and our head hurt. We want everybody side aches and be irritable and be mad because we're trying to do too much. We're trying to do too much. So definitely, like you said, rest is power. Rest is strength. You know, I have to remind myself when I'm very down. I think another one that came to me, and it made me think about. So what I want next is, I forgot, so we're going to move right on. Move right on, don't talk to me a little bit. God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
God is good.
Today is the day
That the Lord has made,
we shall rejoice
and be glad in it.
Grandma, I learned some grandma. I all those kids. Moving What role does spirituality and religious faith play in maintaining mental health and wellness?
I think my answer would probably be the opposite of what your question is, because unfortunately, a lot of people, specifically black people, deal with church hurt and don't even know it. So that can be a difficult part or a difficult road to navigate. And just being somebody who has experienced people of the community giving so much to religion organizations, whether it is a church or a mosque or any other institution, and not receive as much back, it can also add to that church hurt. You know, I've seen people give their last as far as bill money and so many other aspects of it, but not getting anything in return. So that can definitely be one of those things that, yeah, can definitely go another way. But as far as wellness, I think flip side of that, the churches are one of those places that are or should be in the forefront of saying, hey, we're your biggest advocates, we're your allies, we're your resources here, opposed to saying it's God or nothing. You know, like you said earlier, it can be mental health, and you can see these other people in addition to have your God. So I think once people get a balance of that, opposed to just the one-sidedness of it, it'll probably assist in the overall wellness. Because for a long time, you say David has been a church, you know, and if that church is not equipped to handle certain situations, whether it is a mental health crisis or just an overall thing, they want you to keep it indoors, that can be a difficult thing. So wellness in itself should go beyond just your faith. You can have your faith. I'm not telling you to deny Jesus or, you know, become an atheist or nothing, but I am encouraging you to understand that God also gave additional resources. So just take advantage of everything opposed to just being one track.
I would say clinically it is ingrained in our assessment, in our relapse prevention, in our safety plan. So church is never turned away in our sessions. Whoever you pray to, it is included. I will also say that God, I've had a lot of college students that come to me and they're at a crossroads. So they're definitely in the church, they're definitely in the mosque, and they're hearing, they're listening to the elders, which is a beautiful thing, but then they're also trying to find that balance between attending college and there's parties. And, you know, like you have the shirt, half good, half hope. They're trying to figure out which is the best way to go, and just listening, having someone there to listen and not put any judgment, and have them really talk it out and work it out, and whatever decision they make, know that they can come back to the same place and not be turned away, not be chastised, and really talk about what consequences they experience and what they're going to learn to do moving forward. So religion is not taken away from your clinical experience. It's actually encouraged and wrapped up in our clinical documentation. Because as soon as you sit in, one of the forms, the intake forms, it asks, do you have any religious affiliation? Because we utilize that as a way to connect with you and build support, especially if you're going through some hardship. So.
I looked at this question in different ways. Repeat after me. Is relationship with God?
There's relationship with God.
There's religion with God.
And there's religion with God.
As a black community, when we face tragedy, we turn on the TV and someone gets shot, who is it? The pastor in the morning, right? After the funeral, after the repast, do we go back to the church? Sometimes we don't. That's the religious track. The relationship track is going to teach you that we have you, but you also need to prepare. Because sometimes the churches don't have you. We have to believe to pray for you. But we don't have, we always use this scripture, faith without works are
Dead.
right? But we don't talk about the works that we have to do. The works talks about going through grief therapy. The works is talking about when I am at home crying that night and I only have God, I also gotta recognize the use of DET still. Understand my somatic symptoms, right? We have to, but they work hand in hand. I love God with all my heart. My friends in the room and Sherelle and Crystal, we done had mad conversations about how I look at God in therapy. All in all, read your word, apply it, and have a relationship. Because if you go the religious way, you're stuck. But if you go relationship, that's going to take you a long way. So
Switching gears a little bit to our babies. Our babies, the ones that are dependent on us for some of the answers, the ones that are dependent on us to model effective communication, healthy relationships. Switching gears to them. Sadly, given the suicide rate amongst young Black individuals, it's rising. I work in a hospital on the psych team. And baby, ooh, I gotta pray every night when I get home. I gotta do the person every night when I get home. Because the amount of suicidal children that I see daily is unimaginable. I wouldn't believe it if I wasn't working in the hospital. Okay? So given that number is rising, what are some of the warning signs for some of the parents in here that may not know, that may chalk it up to you being, you seeking attention, you're being annoying, What you got everything. I just bought you some new shoes. What you stressed about? What you depressed about? What else more do you want? What are some of the warning signs of mental health that often go unnoticed, and how as parents can we support them?
When we talking about suicide specifically, I think everybody is probably within a generation of where mental health was probably a little less emphasized. So like you're talking about depression or suicide and all that, it was, go depressed conditions and then come back and talk about it. Or, so it was a difference in the response of how we can respond now as parents or colleagues or as siblings even, or partners, So when we're talking about warning signs that we can emphasize to the young people, isolation, we can educate them on what manipulation looks like, educate them on just being in a place of expressing themselves authentically too. Because it's not that people don't express themselves, it's just sometimes they articulate it in a way that the other person don't understand. So if I'm telling you I need something, I don't know how to say, hey, I need this from you. More than likely, this person's acting out, so attention-seeking behavior. Or they're doing things to garner more attention, or because the consequence is not really what they want, what they're after, or what they're trying to attain. There's a byproduct of that. Even when you talk about anger and irritability, that's a byproduct. They're angry and irritable for some other reason. That's probably secondary to the primary reason. So I think we have to look beyond that and try to identify those type of things. And spend time with the young people. They might not appreciate it when they're going through it. I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old daughter, and I make it my business to intentionally avoid them as much as I can. Because I want them to know what a healthy man looks like. So yeah, of course, right now they feel annoying. I get on their nerves, but when they're outside the home, I'm confident that they know what to recognize and what not to do. And I've heard firsthand accounts on those things. So of course we got to continue to be there and set those examples and model, like you said, because that's important.
I would add to that, stereotypically, we talk about, and clinically it's called oppositional defiant disorder, but is individuals who are acting out, who are lashing out, and that's what you think of automatically, and that's what social media shows us. But I really have seen more of my students who have a good grade, have a good job, everything's great, they have their golden child. Great grades, perfect, and those are the ones who are really struggling with the pressure of not supporting their parents, of not doing well in school. They've been told since they were 2-year-olds that they're going to be doctors, and then they get to biochemistry and they're flunking out, and that's when suicidal thoughts come in. So you really need to talk to your children, listen in. If you're struggling with grades, I'm not automatic consequences, but really find out what's going on. Do you need help? Be honest and transparent. Just say, I have my license, but there were some grades that I struggled with, and I got here because I asked for help and I got the support that I needed. So really, I call it the dark side of girls, but check in on those perfect golden children as well.
You back off. You do see certain behavior there are building new changes. And stop saying the normal teenage behavior. Right? Also, go back to what Sherelle said is that there is an increase in suicide. And what I recognize is that our children can't deal with rejection. They can't deal with that big word no. Start while they're young. Because we're not going to get everything that we want in life. Right? Your feelings are that's what we are. Right? He might say, it's okay. Let's talk about that. Because when we don't teach them how to deal with no, they will become teenagers that don't know how to deal with no. They become adults that don't know how to deal with no. And then if we don't know how to deal with no as adults, what usually happens? That's what
Male.
All right?
All great points. And just to add to that, be mindful how we speak to them, y'all. First of all, be mindful how you speak to yourself. Because they watch your backs. Right? If you're highly critical of yourself, and if you recognize your household is a highly critical household, be mindful of that everything that you say, they're taking in. You are their greatest influence. So what you think of them, they need to know. Because if what you say ain't what you mean, hello somebody, they hear what you say. And they're taking that in as a sponge. And so teaching them how to talk to themselves, how to love upon themselves, so when they go to school and somebody call them a fat, non-dressing, you got on the Asics for Walmart. Teach them, and I went well. And your point is, okay, build them up. Build them up so that they are prepared for what the world is going to give to them. Because otherwise, sometimes it's just too much for them to handle. You become their inner voice. Understand that. What you say to your baby, that's the voice that they hear every day. So make sure what you're feeding into them is healthy. It's amazing. You look good today. Girl, you better. If you like that, you better win. Okay? Except for the two times. Just that is true. I got a 12-year-old too. But that's an important conversation. That's gonna be a whole nother segment for a whole nother day. Amen. I see you over there. I'm over there eyeing you. I know what you do. Okay. We're gonna talk. All right. Moving along. We're gonna keep it in the family, and then we'll begin to start wrapping it up. All right. This one is very dear to me. We got to talk about these families, our families. We got to talk about the generational hurt that's passed down from big mom to mom to us. We passed it. Okay? So, first, before we even talk about how we steer away from intergenerational trauma, how we break those curses, let's kind of speak to y'all some of the common dysfunctional behaviors that have been normalized. Because I saw a post floating around on Facebook that said, something about these behaviors are dysfunctional, but we think they're okay, or something like that. So let's kind of talk to that, because somebody right now, is being a little dysfunctional and saying, what you mean? So, who wants to start off with that?
I mean, we joke about it, but always the crazy uncle, the drunken uncle, we mentioned it earlier, the big mama. We highlight, I think there's group made of how amazing Big Mama is, the glue to the family, keeps everyone together. You know how stressful it is? And constantly the caretaker, but I dare to say, Big Mama can also be a neighbor, can also be narcissistic, controlling, and not respect boundaries or even know her boundaries. So there's a couple of
I think from a historical standpoint, so I don't know how many people in here are familiar with epigenetics. That's pretty much the passing down of trauma. So unknowingly, we are impacted and affected by things that we had nothing to do with. So I think once we understand that part, we can then understand why we have to have resilience. In addition to now, there's so much consistent trauma that we experience, whether it is at the hands of law enforcement or healthcare systems, or just the microaggressions at work. So all of those things can definitely impact how we move on a day-to-day. But also coming back to the dysfunction, or just think about how many people your peer age, or even younger, a little bit older, don't understand what postpartum depression is. Just think about or imagine how much simpler your pregnancy probably would have been, or your friends or cousin's pregnancy would have been if you did have that education. Because you don't know, and just think about, if you put it in context of how many of y'all seen relationships end right after pregnancy? So to me, I think it has to be more education around that, because that could be one of the contributing factors. And another one, y'all church folks, so bear with me, but erectile dysfunction. That's not a common discussion that's often had too with couples and relationships. And it's oftentimes passed to something else, within that communication aspect. So those things are difficult to navigate, because you mad at something else when it really is this option that y'all should be discussing. So it's so many more that I can get into, but for the sake of time, because I want to hear y'all questions, I just pass the mic.
One thing Corella mentioned is that we used to joke about how many jobs we have. So let's talk about our dysfunctional spending habits that we pass on, right? We were like, oh, we hustling. But realistically, we spending the money, right? The way we communicate, we'll yell, cuss, and fuss at each other. That's how my mama do it, so I'm doing it. Come on, y'all. One of the things that I wrote down is also minimizing the role of the man in the household, right? We have single mothers, and y'all doing your thing. Take it to y'all. But the man is important, right? We minimize that because it was passed down to us. I come from my mama's side of the family. The only person that's still married to this day is my mother. But everyone else is either single or divorced. And it's okay to keep having children without any connection to the male. Just think about that.
That's a word. And I'm going to piggyback off of what Mr. Harris was talking about today, because that was passed down. So I think we don't even realize it when they put the black man out of the household, when in order for you to have welfare and get assistance, you couldn't have a man in your house. And y'all think that don't have nothing to do with why we okay and we strong and we don't need no man for nothing and we can do it all by ourselves. It didn't come from just us. It was passed down. And so being mindful of that and being aware of that, it'll help you the next time you feel like you have to be that strong person that you don't even allow yourself to love or be loved. Okay? Because that was passed down. And coupling on top of that, talking about big mama and all of that. Emotional depression is a big one that I've kind of come across, I've experienced. Because a lot of the times, growing up, the generations before us, as kids, they were told, be kids. Kids do what?
Stay in the kids' place.
Stay in a child's place. You are not to be seen or heard when it's time for adult conversation. And so they learned early on to suppress themselves. They learned early on that they don't have a voice. And what happens is they started to pass that down. And so now that's one why we don't respect children and their mental health, because we don't allow them to have a voice. Because our grandparents and their mothers and their mothers was taught that as a child you stay in a child's place. And so I think the emotional suppression, it attributes to the strength. You know, resilience is great. It's good and all. It can be helpful to get us through hard times, but sometimes we use it as sort of a defense mechanism. We are so strong, right? We are so strong that we don't have to talk about this with anybody. We can internalize all of that. And we pass that same behavior down to our children. And so just being mindful that if you feel that you may be a bit emotionally unavailable, be aware of that, because there's consequences to that. You may not feel them or hear them or see them right now, but if you are raising children and you are emotionally unavailable, there's going to be an impact there on your children. Okay? So, moving along. But today we are what? Generational what? Curse
Breakers.
Breakers. And so we are going to take this information and we're going to apply it. That's what we're going to do, because we're going to begin the change in our households, in our families, and then in our community. We're going to get ready to wrap it up. Because this is just too good, guys. Amazing. But I think we kind of. What are some self-care practices and wellness strategies that can be particularly effective for our community, or people in general?
We love music, don't we?
Yeah.
We love, I just said 2 Street yesterday. So for me, in my household, growing up and even now, I turn on music. When I heard Al Green play, that meant come downstairs. That meant get your hair done. So for us, let's get back to some of our roots. Music. That's my answer. Yeah.
So there's therapy, which is we're engaging, we're exchanging dialogue, and then there are things that are therapeutic. So it should be a clear distinction between those, because there are some things therapeutically that you can do to assist yourself. Lifestyle choices like eating the proper things, exercising, reducing on your substance use intake. You know, you don't have to smoke all day, every day, or sip that alcohol, whatever the case is. And also, you can surround yourself with people who are good for you, and not people who are just, because it is a difference between enablement and support. So learn that distinction as well. And there's so many other ones that I want to mention, but I want to hear y'all questions. So.
For me would be digging back onto the show, dancing. So many times that we've been taught that how we dance is inappropriate. It's so healing, because it's ironic that our Caucasian clinicians or colleagues are now switching it and saying and calling it somatic, but they have a new term for it, but literally they're teaching the same thing that we have known since back in Africa. Is dancing is not only relieving, a way of releasing stress, it's healing. There's trauma stored in our body. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and it definitely talks about how that emotional suppression will show up in your body as diabetes, as high blood pressure, but how do we let go of that? Yes, what we choose to eat, and also exercise and dancing.
Absolutely. I was definitely going to get into the physical. We got to get physical, people. We want to sit around and watch Power. And we also we have to sit around, honestly speaking, we have to get physical and get those bones dancing is one of my all-time favorite. Music is one of my all-time favorite. Just a few more: meditation, yoga. Black people, we do yoga. Okay, that stretching of the bones, how it can be healing.
Speaking of it, sorry,
No, you're fine.
but I remember back then they were all working together, trying to struggle to make it through. But she did work with a client.
Quality and has, would you want to take advice from this person because it's credible or because they have your favorite artists also listening to you? So just make sure you're able to modify and understand the difference.
So not sexy.
I mean, it would be a difficult thing for her to tell you how to raise your kids or how to, not that she can't, but would you marry? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think in those aspects, you put yourself in a difficult position when you look at different influences for those readings. They can be just that. Like, she's an artist. I view you as an artist. I listen to your music, buy your CD, maybe go to a concert, but I'm not going to apply what you're telling me to my life because it might not fit. It's not going to fit based on the presentation of what you're doing. For me, it's not somebody that I can have around my daughter based on that. You know what I mean? Like the way she dressed, the prerogative, nothing wrong with that, but that's not a model that I would say I'm cool with my daughter turn on. So, moderation.
I mean, I'll just add to that. Learning to seek validation within yourself is a big one, and not looking for that external validation. Because they will love you then. Tomorrow. Okay? One wrong move, and they're going to tell you the straight. And if you are solely reliant on that, to have value in who you are, that can be horrifying. Okay? So just making sure that you understand and know how to have that self-work, know what that means to you.
And I just want to wrap it up with comparison is the thief of joy.
Come
I
on.
even have adults who struggle because they're binging, flipping through, and they're like, oh, I'm 35 and she has 2 kids and she's got the snapback, so I got. You don't even know if that individual that you're comparing yourself to and tearing yourself down, if they have an eating disorder. You don't know what's going on in their real world. They're just giving you a glimpse of what they want you to see.
I'm gonna sound a little churchy when I give you my answer. Come on, fast from it. Live in reality. Shut it off.
Yes.
Right?
Just did it.
It's not reality. Turn it off for a moment. Right? And allow yourself to be present within yourself. Right? So when it's time to turn it back on, you'll know how to feed yourself.
Yes.
I love that.
Good.
So I have a question about workplace. I had a young woman, workplace bullying, yes. Had a young woman come to me yesterday. She was asking, she was saying she had to get a job, like the women. And I love my sisters, but we are hard on each other's work. She's in her 20s, she's having difficulty, she can't function, she had no therapy. She was struggling. Would you all give us some tips on what it looks like behind the scenes for young people going into the workplace and have to deal with workplace bullying? I work in a woman-run field as a nurse. And like I said, we're hard on each other. We're not nice to each other. And that matters behind the scenes. As far as us networking with each other, it's hard. It's hard to trust each other. So would you all give some tips about working through that and what it looks like for you all when people come into the office and speak to you all?
I can start a little bit. First, I can understand your perspective and how you may have experienced that in some aspects. And I want to say that that's not the overall generalization of my experience. As you see, I got 2 people here. And so finding finding people, not even finding people, because this is your workplace. One, I'm gonna say assertive communication. We have to even teach our children how to assert themselves when it comes to communicating with others, how to handle conflict appropriately and respectfully, and how to set your boundaries. If you are dealing with microaggressions or you're dealing with instances like that at work, being able to assert yourself in a respectful way and saying, please don't speak to me that way. Or somebody, you really tell me, yes, I don't appreciate that at all. It don't have to be a whole situation. It can be setting my boundaries the first time.
Right there. Right there.
Please come in. Please don't speak to me that way. I don't appreciate it. Okay? And then go in the proper channels and doing what you gotta do. No snitching do not occur. Listen, that does not equate to when you go to that workplace. Okay? Handle those, go through the proper channels because they're gonna do it to you. At the slightest inconvenience on that way. Okay? So just learning to effectively resolve conflict, minus all the emotion, being emotionally charged and all of that. Just knowing how to assert yourself and set boundaries and keep them.
Yeah, so I would say when you invoke things within the workplace, it is a certain amount of protection that is there based on policy and procedure. So I would encourage her to figure out what those proper steps is, and then if it goes unnoticed by the superiors or management or whomever, legally she will have the ability to do some things, and then potentially civilly too. So when employers continue to get those notifications that they're being sued or they're ignoring certain stuff tend to change. So I would encourage her to definitely do her research, identify what the policies and procedures say. I'm sure if you're working in a nursing environment, it's some against harassment, whether it's from the patients or from the colleagues and management. So she definitely would have the ability to express herself to those people and her management. And if nothing happens, then she can take it a step further and, get some furniture moving as far as the legal side of things.
I think we had one back here and then one here.
I didn't have a question. I just had a comment. Especially being young, seeking therapy is going to sit on a couch don't work, but you can do online. I'd go to online therapy, or I can just sit in front of my phone, and it's a whole lot easier than me thinking that I need to go sit in a room and sit on their couch.
That's a good perspective because we did speak much to telehealth. The world is changing. The world is changing, and so right now,
Well, I was gonna say 80% of my clientele is telehealth,
I love it.
and I love it.
well, 100% right now. 100. I'm talking about pajamas at the bottom of the place.
Okay.
You gonna still have a great session, okay? So that is a very good perspective because I did look at it in that sense that it may be easier for people to be comfortable in their own setting.
That's good.
But I would also say, even with that, you should definitely try to aspire to meet face to face
go to the
therapists
couch.
every now and again, because the perception can be different in person. And if that's something that this person is uncomfortable with, then that's part of therapy. That's part of growth. That's part of your evolution as well.
To get over that fear of sitting on the couch.
Yeah, and just realistically, like I said earlier, the depiction of what Hollywood presented has damaged that. So the sitting on the couch talking in front of somebody, giving them your deepest, darkest secrets has been habitual. But my sessions ain't like that. You already said yours not like that. So it's a difference. We engage differently when you have a therapist who can connect with you on a different level. So yeah, you're probably under that mindset of this is what therapy is, this is what I've seen, but it could be different depending on your therapist. So I'm not saying stop doing it and don't listen to me when it brings up, but I would encourage you to also aspire to at least once a quarter or something to go in person, just so you can get a different dynamic. And then your therapist can also see you and see your presentation. Because you sitting behind the screen, I only see what you're giving me behind the screen.
Right.
So in person, I can see your legs out. I can process what that means.
Right.
Or you fidgety or doing something else. I can call you on it. We're talking about relationships.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you nervous. Like, I want to be able to see that and not just.
So you can assess the whole situation.
Yes,
I get
ma'am.
it.
Yes, ma'am. So I would encourage you to once, every now and again,
Right.
just pop in so they can call you out on some stuff that you had behind the screen.
Me too.
Something that I know that we all probably speak to in our first few sessions. The first session is also being mindful of technology, right? And the same as like when you're texting someone, somebody may perceive something a little differently than what you send it. Understand that when you behind the screen too, I've had one of my clients say, "Did you roll your eyes?" Did my lashes? Is the screen froze? I didn't roll my eyes. But before they asked me that, I saw things change, and I had to ask them what changed. What happened? I was like, I think you rolled your eyes. I didn't roll my eyes. And so being mindful of how, being behind the screen can also, we talk about the risk of telehealth in our first sessions and say, hold on, let's understand what are some of these risks of using technology. So, very good.
So, I got like a question and like information so that you had bulletins that you wanted. So I've been through all of them. And my main experience with it is the balance. I'm trying away because I don't have methods. People tell me because I'm self-paid, nobody accepts me. Nobody wants to do family therapy. Nobody wants to give me any resources. When I call my healthcare insurance, the information they give me is not even adequate. When I call the people, they out of business. They not giving me the right information. I reach out to Black therapists. Everything is scripted based off my insurance. Nobody wants to give, even if they can't help me, nobody says, hey, I listened to what you said, and this person might not be in this area, but they can do this. No, I beg for resources, and I'm turned away. I've had CPS called on me. I've dealt with District 19, go to the Virginia South Psychiatric. That's the default, I feel like. They go in there, they call District 19 on me, not knowing District 19 sent me there, but not only that, I got a 10-year background of coming here, and y'all pull my name. Y'all see this ain't my first time. So I'm in default because the people tell me, well, you seem like you got it yourself. So what I'm supposed to do?
And I think what you just spoke to also speaks to the lack of trust in our system, right? Those experiences that you have could have possibly contributed.
And it doesn't deter me. It's an issue because I keep going and I keep going and I keep going, but I'm getting turned down.
Yeah.
So what more am I supposed to do?
Absolutely. So today we're gonna link you with some collective platforms where you can check on those, like Black Girl Rock, like Mental Heal.
Yeah, even us right here.
Even us. I was about to say that is actually the reason for this right now. For people like you who say I've tried, or either I don't even know where to start. That's why I brought about clinicians here, so that when this is all said and done, hopefully that you can connect with somebody who can help you, and if they can't help you, they can send you some resources to help you. That is the exact reason why I put this here, and that's why instead of having a whole bunch of people who bake cookies and cupcakes and all the things over there, I got these people over here. So definitely get with them. I got this one, and this will be our last one.
Okay, I am a director of a youth school, and I get students all the time coming into my office wanting to give me a feel of what's going on in their life. And I'm like, real detailed personal things. How do I encourage them to come to me? I do have relatives. Show up. I'm her cousin. I do have Sherelle, the little, the little thing you gave me, but they do not want to talk to anyone. They drain me all day every day. I mean, mentally. I be mentally drained when I get home. How do What can you give me to give to them, to encourage them to speak to
So I would say congratulations for having a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
You have the gift of creating this welcoming environment while you learn and grow, that you feel comfortable enough to give me this information. So praises to you for creating that space. But also I would just say, make sure you are, like I mentioned earlier, enforcing your boundaries. And I understand what you got going on, but I don't feel that I can take that on right now. Here's a list of people, you know, that probably you should sit with, you know, or telehealth with. So I would encourage you to start doing that. And it's going to be difficult at first, but at the end of the day, you're there to assist them in the beauty aspect, you know, the hair and esthetician stuff that y'all probably doing. But the life aspect, you can encourage them to get that somewhere else. But of course, you naturally being a nurturer, you're probably going to see a decline in their grades or them showing up. You don't want to reach back out. I would just say, just make sure that you have the capacity to do that. Because sometimes you can get overwhelmed with just adding stuff on your plate. It ain't got nothing to do with you. So just take that into consideration too. But definitely, I'm sure it's going to be a resource list with everybody's information that they can get effectively treatment in places they can offload all that stuff on so you can go home and sleep peacefully.
Absolutely. And I want you to set no boundaries. It's okay to follow back through, right? They're going to come again. They're going to try you again, right? Hey, dude, hey, good morning. I'm seeing Ms. Jenkins. Did you make a call? No. Well, come back to you and make a call.
Then I get the, I don't care, you know, if I don't listen. I'm the director that don't care. And I'm pushing them all. If I don't.
And I know it hurts because you are a nurturer, right? And you want to be able to do, but that's a boundary to me. And we have to be mindful of boundary pushers in our life. If we set a boundary and they come back again, they are now overstepping the boundaries that you set. And because you are a people pleaser or a nurturer, or whichever one you want to call it, you go off, you yield to your boundaries instead of keeping your boundaries firm. And so I would definitely have a resource list for you. And I'm going to say to you, you know, thank you because you always bring me in. And, you know, I might do a little lot or two here and there, but, you know, you bring me in as a mental health professional. And that's your way of giving back. That's your way of giving support. I'm only one person. I got 3 on the list now. But continue to do things like that, and I'm gonna connect you with some other people in here so they can come out and help me. You know, when it's time for your speaking engagement.
I will also say too, like your introductory or open house, just remind them, I am the director or whatever your title is, excuse me. So the accountability factor is based on that, not based on me being your personal therapist or whatever. So craft that up and however you need to deliver it within that open house that they would know, yes, I am your director to get you through this graduation and all this other stuff. The additional stuff is me being a genuine person. I'm going to have to do that part. And then you can bring in the other speakers and stuff like that too.
And I want, absolutely, and I want to say specifically to you, I know you know, but specifically to you, they do that, they seek the parent in you. Understand that every behavior, we didn't say it earlier without saying it though, every behavior has a reason. There's a reason for everybody's behavior. And so they may be seeking something in you because you've called me a couple of times and said, how can you help this person? I said, give my number. And they don't follow through. Because in that moment, they're getting their needs met by talking to you and unloading on you. And so keeping your boundaries firm in order for you to have a sense of peace is going to be really important. Okay?
I just want to say, this has been awesome. And what I hear, honestly, even when I heard you talk about the young lady over here, is this is to normalize therapy. And the answer to your question is normalize it. If you had a space, even in your orientation of just having therapy over in a corner, like here's a session, here's some cards, over here, if you're ever in a bind, I have this over there. But exposing it and normalizing therapy, that's what this is for. When you leave, you go talk about it and make it normal. Don't give it the negative stigma. The young lady that's dealing with some issues, she probably needs therapy. Normalizing therapy so she can become assertive, so she can get that confidence. But that's what this is for, is normalizing it. Not speaking negatively about it and it's embracing it.
This is not a comment. I just want to say to Sherelda, this has been awesome. All the panelists, this has been great. But I want to take a moment just to say thank you, Sherelda. Everybody in this room, I'm sure, is beneficial from her for some reason. I told her earlier, I said, I think I want to say something to you, but I don't know if I can do it. But I just want to personally thank you for being my track therapist, my sister, my friend. She is my niece, but me and my sister traded kids, so my daughter, and I'm so very proud of her. I just want to thank her for encouraging me to stay in the mental health field, to keep my mental health balanced. Girl, keep going. Let me keep holding on to your coat. We done work everywhere together. Keep on pulling me in. I did buy you some flowers, but I said, Katie, I'm not a public speaker. She said, well, I got flowers too. So conquer those fears. Thank you, Sherrod. Keep going. This has been awesome. Everybody in this room, thank you.
But first, I just gotta say thank you to everybody who showed up. Because y'all, they thought y'all was showing up for me, and I was just support Brandon, but you showed up for yourselves today. And I hope that you walk away with something different, with something that you can take to the next person. Because that's why I did it. So we can learn and we can grow within our community. So thank you so much. Since I've been there, Lord, thank y'all so much. Because we need y'all. Can y'all look around the room at this black excellence? Yes. To be in the position that y'all are in. You know, Toya, man, you started from the bottom. So I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of all of y'all. So thank y'all so much for being here. But y'all, let me tell y'all something. My team, my goodness. My team, y'all see them standing, y'all see them with yellow lanyards, y'all see some of them sit down. When I tell y'all, I titles in group chat, trap stars. They're not trap stars. When I tell y'all, these people, these same people, were the same people who were down and go. When I say y'all, me and the rail get married next week. I was like, what? I was like, I kind of want to have like a little wedding. It's gonna be about 20 people, and it ended up being, I don't even remember how many people. But these are the same people who stayed up all week figuring out how to put together a wedding for me and my husband.
And it was done.
And it was done.
That's right.
And so I can call them for anything. If I say, y'all, bring a toolbox, a gallon of grease, and some flour, they would say, what we gotta do? Mount TVs and have fish fries? So I just want to thank each and every one of y'all, because without y'all, this event would not have been as successful as it was. And one day, when I get rich, y'all, I'm taking all y'all. We give it up for the track star. And her team who decorated, like this was a whole family. So everybody who say, I don't got friends, I don't deal with women, I don't like this, you better get you a tribe. You better get you a tribe, because if it wasn't for my tribe, y'all, I would not be half the person I am. So my husband and my kids, thank y'all. I set up all week long. And they let me go. Okay? So I just want to thank everybody, my wonderful panelists, y'all. Get up. The buck doesn't stop here, though. We have to keep this going. Like Tisha said, we have to be able to normalize these conversations.
have these conversations in your household. Have them in your workplace. Have them where there's appropriate time to have conversations so that this doesn't feel so heavy when the time comes around. So we don't have this huge of a stigma when it comes to mental health and getting treatment. I'm going to continue to try to do my part, and I want you guys to do your part because we are what? Generational what?
Curse breakers.
And so now, y'all, I want to offer the opportunity before we go seek our vendors to lift up your placemats. There's a lucky winner. Oh,
There you go. Nah, this is my all right, you don't go no Wawa.
We have a board game from Mr. Harris that we want to wrap off. So where's this? We'll do one more round.
All right. Well, you are here with City. Let's see what you got. 2018.
Oh, finally. So clear.
Oh, okay. You got a real winner. All right. Clap it up. And then also, I have a seasoning called Tennessee that I'm getting ready to raffle off real quick. Shout out. What was your name one time?
Tennessee.
Okay, y'all heard that? What's your name again? I ain't gonna check it out. What's your name again?
Tennessee.
Okay, there it is. I want to make sure y'all know, okay? Because this is what y'all just put on y'all food, okay? Two, 0, 2, 6. All right, y'all. So now I would like the babies of this beautiful chocolate thing right here, okay? She even ask your fingernails. I know she look like her like on your dresser somewhere. She's just so cute and tiny. I just love it. So as you just take a look at what you created, okay? Okay? So sweet.
Yes.
Y'all clap it up for the babies, man.
And we have some gifts for the families. And then, y'all, that is a wrap for the first annual Trap and Heal. Okay, they have that gift. So y'all are free to please, y'all take this opportunity and go speak to the vendors, okay? And take pictures and get some food and take some home.
And make sure you follow me all at Jazzy Correll, JAZZYB, on YouTube. Thank y'all so much. Hey, y'all.
We set up, y'all clean up. I'm just joking. We can hear all night long.
protect you. You gotta protect yourself. Be your own advocate first. Like when you're on the plane, we just say put your mask on first and then help somebody else. But oftentimes you don't have the opportunity to do that. So it's okay to do
I just wanted to give a brief announcement for everybody over here on this table. They're special. Thank you. So I wanted to let people know that to stay away from these things. Okay?
Just in case you didn't hear it, because I don't know if everybody heard you on that side. Yeah, got some special drinks on the side in case you need it or want it.